Welcome to the world of science fiction, where extraordinary tales come to life. Enjoy the journey. The wrench slipped. Jack Reagan's knuckles scraped against corroded metal, and he swore. A creative string of Earth profanity so vivid that even the half-dead loading droid on his bench paused, reconsidering whether it should keep pretending to be broken. He sucked on the bleeding knuckle and glared at the loading droid sprawled across his workbench like a drunk at closing time. 34 years old, 5 years removed from Earth's military, and here he was, fighting rust in a garage that smelled like engine grease and regret. Vrak 7 wasn't much to look at. Dust-choked streets, abandoned factories bleeding rust into orange soil. The kind of place where people came to disappear, and Jack had done exactly that. His repair shop sat wedged between a recycling plant and something that might have been a bar, might have been a brothel. He'd never worked up the courage to check. He wiped his hands on his gray coveralls and reached for the coffee mug on his bench. Cold, naturally. In this shop, even coffee gave up on life early. That's when he heard the screaming. Jack's body moved before his brain caught up. Old reflexes, the kind that got beaten into you during basic training and never quite left. He grabbed the heaviest wrench within reach and pushed through the back door into the alley. 3 figures in dark robes surrounded 2 others. The attackers were tall, purple-skinned, moving with the fluid grace of predators. Veltari. Jack recognized the ritual garments, keepers of the law. Religious police, bad news wrapped in worse intentions. The woman they'd cornered was bleeding, purple skin darker than theirs, like bruised plums. She held 2 curved blades in hands that trembled but didn't drop. Behind her, pressed against the grimy wall, a child. Small, maybe 8 years old. Pale violet skin, silver hair tangled and dirty. Eyes like liquid gold, wide with terror. "Surrender the tainted," one keeper demanded. His voice carried that particular tone of righteous certainty that Jack had learned to hate during his military years. "The law demands cleansing." "She's my sister." The woman's voice didn't waver. "You won't touch her. Then you both die." Jack didn't know these people. Didn't know why 3 armed fanatics wanted a little girl dead. But anytime 3 guys in robes start a murder party, somebody like him always ends up cleaning the mess anyway. He'd seen enough children caught in crossfires during his service, seen enough small bodies carried out of places they should have been safe. He moved. The wrench connected with the back of the nearest keeper's skull, a satisfying, slightly concerning crack. For a split second, Jack wondered if he'd missed his calling and should have become a doctor, or a dentist. The alien dropped. The other 2 spun toward him, and in that heartbeat of confusion, the woman's blade opened one throat in a spray of dark blood. "Follow me." Jack grabbed the child. She weighed nothing, bones like a bird's under that thin tunic. She shook against his chest but didn't scream. They ran. Through the back door of his shop, down the stairs he'd installed himself, the ones that led to the maintenance tunnels beneath the city. Jack knew these passages like he knew his own heartbeat. Every turn, every dead end, every rusted door that still worked if you kicked it right. The surviving keeper pursued. Jack heard boots echoing behind them, gaining. He ducked left into a side passage, then right, then through a gap in the wall that looked like solid metal unless you knew better. 2 hours of crawling through darkness. The woman kept pace despite her wound, blood dripping in a trail behind her. The child never made a sound. They emerged in the basement of an abandoned warehouse on the far side of town. Jack lowered the girl to the ground and she immediately ran to her sister. Viv, don't die. Please don't die." The woman, Viv, collapsed against a support pillar. Her hand pressed against her side, dark blood seeping between her fingers. Jack knelt beside her. The wound was deep but clean. Missed anything vital if her anatomy worked roughly like human anatomy. "I've got medical supplies at my shop, but we can't risk going back there yet." "My bag." She gestured weakly at the small pack still strapped to the child's back. Inside, he found the med kit. Alien design, unfamiliar symbols, but medicine was medicine. Clean the wound, stop the bleeding, close it up. His hands didn't shake, couldn't afford to shake. The child watched him work, clutching her sister's hand. Those golden eyes tracked every movement he made, not crying anymore, just watching, memorizing. When he finished, the woman fixed him with a stare that made his spine want to crawl out of his body and find somewhere safer. "Why did you help us, human?" Jack shrugged. "Don't like seeing people hurt kids." Vivian blinked, confused. He spread his hands. "On Earth, we call that basic human decency. You should try it sometime." 2 weeks passed in the hidden room beneath Jack's workshop. He'd built this space himself, back when paranoia seemed like good sense rather than mental illness. Reinforced walls, hidden entrance, enough supplies to survive a month if things went sideways. He'd never expected to actually use it. The woman's name was Vivian, 22 years old, one of the deadliest killers her species had ever produced. She carried a title, Shadow of Selvar, that apparently meant something terrifying to anyone who recognized it. "Only 5 in each generation," she explained one night while the child slept on Jack's cot. "We are weapons, nothing more. Weapons don't protect their sisters." She looked at him strangely, kept looking at him strangely, like he was a puzzle she couldn't solve. The child's name was Maya, 8 years old, Vivian's blood sister, despite the 14-year gap between them, and she was condemned to die. Jack learned about the blood song, the telepathic connection that bound all Veltari together like threads in a tapestry. Every member of their species heard it from birth, a constant hum at the edge of consciousness. Belonging, identity, purpose. Maya heard nothing. "She was born deaf to the song," Vivian said. "To my people, this is worse than disease. It is a tear in the fabric of who we are. The law demands such children be cleansed, killed." "Yes." Jack looked at Maya, curled up under a blanket with her thumb in her mouth. Silver hair fanned across the pillow, small chest rising and falling with each breath. "She seems pretty normal to me. She doesn't hear the song." "So? It is tradition. Thousands of years. Tradition is garbage." Vivian stared at him. That look again, like she was seeing something she'd never encountered before. "You say that so easily." "Because it's true." Jack leaned back against the wall. "I've seen a lot of traditions. Most of them exist because someone powerful wanted to stay powerful. Doesn't make them right." Silence stretched between them. "I was 14 when she was born," Vivian said finally. Her voice dropped, almost too quiet to hear. "I'd already killed 7 people by then, but holding her, that was the first time I cried." Jack didn't know what to say to that, so he said nothing. The days developed a rhythm. Jack brought food, changed bandages, told terrible jokes that made Vivian roll her eyes and Maya almost smile. He showed the girl how his tools worked, the wrench, the screwdriver, the plasma cutter she wasn't allowed to touch but asked about constantly. Maya barely spoke. 3 years of running, Vivian explained. 3 years of hiding. The girl had learned that silence meant survival. But sometimes, late at night, she'd creep over to where Jack sat working on whatever broken thing he'd smuggled in that day. She'd settle beside him, those huge golden eyes watching his hands move. Never talking, just present. It shouldn't have meant anything. It meant everything. The morning they left, Vivian stood at the workshop door with Maya's hand in hers. The wound had healed. The keepers had moved on. Time to run again. "I owe you a debt, human." Vivian's voice carried weight. "This is not empty words. Someday I will repay it." Jack shook his head. "Forget it. Just keep her safe." He looked at Maya. The girl stared back with those impossible eyes. "One more thing," he added. Don't come back planning to kill me. Then we're even." Vivian didn't smile, but something shifted in her expression. Something that might have been warmth, buried deep beneath years of training and blood. They walked away. At the threshold, Maya turned, raised her small hand, waved. Jack waved back. The door closed. He stood there longer than he should have, staring at nothing. Then he shook himself, grabbed his wrench, and went back to work. Life continued. Machines broke. He fixed them. The days blurred together like they always had. He didn't think about golden eyes or silver hair or the first time he'd heard a traumatized child laugh at his terrible jokes. He didn't think about it at all. 6 months later, different planet, expensive hotel, dark room. Vivian sat before a holographic display and her blood turned to ice. The face on the screen was familiar. Rough features, tired eyes, the kind of smile that came too easily, like the man behind it hadn't learned yet that the universe punished kindness. Name: Jack Reagan. Location: VRAC 7. Client: Kronos Guild. Payment: 500,000 credits. Status: priority. Her hands trembled. She forced them still. The door opened behind her. She didn't need to turn to know who it was. The way he moved, silent, precise, announced him clearly enough. Kale, one of the shadows, her former teacher, the man who taught her to kill before she was old enough to understand what death meant. "You received the assignment, not a question. It's a trap, obviously." Kale settled into the chair across from her. His mask hid his face, but she could hear the satisfaction in his voice. "The council knows about your association with this human. They selected him specifically." "Why?" "A test. Prove you're still a shadow. Prove your loyalty belongs to Selvar, not random strangers." Vivian's jaw tightened. "And if I refuse?" "You know the answer." Yes, she knew. Refusal meant betrayal. Betrayal meant the Keepers would hunt Maya with full authority. No more running, no more hiding. They would find her. "How long do I have?" 72 hours. Kale stood. "After that, the council will consider your choice made." He left. Vivian stared at Jack's face on the screen, remembered his hands, gentle on her wound, his voice, telling stupid stories to Maya, her sister's laugh, the first real laugh in months. "Don't come back planning to kill me." She closed her eyes. She didn't have a choice. She never had a choice. VRAC 7, rooftop across from Jack's workshop. Vivian lay prone, rifle steady, scope centered on the back of a human skull. Jack worked at his bench, same as always. Some broken machine spread before him like a patient on an operating table. He hummed off-key, a tuneless melody that drifted up through the open window. Her finger rested on the trigger. One shot, clean, professional. He wouldn't feel anything. She'd killed before, many times. Some of her targets had been good people, doctors, scientists, parents. Work was work. But this one, the memories came unbidden. Jack carrying Maya through dark tunnels, his hands shaking as he stitched Vivian's wound, but his voice staying calm so the child wouldn't panic. 2 weeks sleeping on his own floor so they could have his bed. "Why did you help us?" "Don't like seeing people hurt kids. No calculation, no angle, just instinct. Goodness without agenda." Vivian didn't understand people like that. She'd been trained to see every action as chess. Every choice weighed, measured, evaluated. This man risked his life for strangers, because he felt like it. The trigger waited beneath her finger. 1 minute passed, 2, 5. Vivian lowered the rifle. She couldn't do it. For the first time in her life, she couldn't pull the trigger. Jack was closing up shop when someone knocked. He opened the door and froze. Vivian stood on his threshold, dark cloak, blades at her hips, face pale and tight with something that might have been fear. Several seconds of silence. "Let me guess," Jack said finally. "You're not here for spare parts. There's a contract on your life." Her voice was flat. "I was supposed to kill you an hour ago." Pause. "Was supposed to?" "I couldn't." Jack processed this information. "That's good, I guess. For me, anyway." She didn't react to his weak attempt at humor. "You don't understand. I refused the assignment. That means—" She stopped. "What?" "Maya is in danger." The name hit him like a physical blow. All trace of levity vanished from his face. "Come inside." He stepped back, opening the door wider. "Tell me everything." They sat in his workshop, surrounded by half-repaired machines and the smell of old coffee. Vivian explained. "The Kronos Guild, a criminal syndicate that wanted Jack dead because of information he'd accidentally stumbled across. The Shadow Council, rulers of her people, using this contract as a test of her loyalty. If I don't complete the kill, the council declares me a traitor. The Keepers get full authority to hunt Maya openly. They have methods. They'll find her." "Where is she now?" "Safe planet. Someone I trust is watching her, but if the council starts really looking—" She didn't finish. Didn't need to. Jack was quiet for a long moment. Then, "Okay, what's the option where everybody lives happily ever after?" "There isn't one." "Then we make one." Vivian stared at him like he'd grown a second head. "Did you hear what I said? The guild wants you dead. The council wants to control me. We have 72 hours, right? Before your people make their move." "Yes, but that's enough." "Enough for what?" Jack stood up and started pacing. His eyes were bright, not with fear, but with something else entirely. Excitement. "The guild and the council, they're not friends, right? Just business partners? Temporary alliance, mutual benefit. So what happens if one side thinks the other betrayed them?" Vivian frowned. "They'd go to war with each other." "Exactly." Jack snapped his fingers. "We make them think they've been double-crossed. Let the snakes eat each other." "That's insane." "That's Tuesday on Vrac 7. Pause. "You seriously want to deceive a criminal syndicate and a council of master assassins simultaneously?" "Technically, I want them to deceive each other. We just nudge things along." Vivian stared at him for a long moment. Then, slowly, her lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile but lived in the same neighborhood. "You're insane, human." "Jack." He grinned at her. "My name is Jack, and yeah, I get that a lot." Jack scratched a diagram onto a sheet of rusted metal with a welding stylus, the lines glowing faint orange before cooling to white. "The Kronos Guild has a base here." He tapped the crude map. "Edge of the industrial district. Old processing plant they converted into a fortress. That's where they keep records of every operation they've ever run, including whatever deal they made with your council." Vivian leaned over his shoulder, close enough that he caught a hint of something like winter air, her natural scent, he'd learned. Veltari ran cooler than humans. "How do you know this?" "Fixed their security system 6 months back. They thought they wiped my memory after." Jack's mouth curved. "They didn't." "Continue." "We get inside, find the records, alter them to look like the guild's been planning to assassinate one of the shadows. Then we make sure your council finds out." Vivian's eyes narrowed. "Too simple. The council will verify." "They won't have time, because while they're checking, we feed the guild fake intel that the council's planning to sell them out to the authorities. They'll strike first. You need proof, convincing proof. Which is why I need access to their systems." Jack set down the stylus. "And a distraction. Distractions are my specialty." They looked at each other, strange feeling, planning together. She was used to working alone. He was used to solving problems with duct tape and stubbornness. But something about this felt right. "I need weapons," Vivian said. "All I've got are these blades." "Weapons I can do." Jack crossed to his workbench and triggered a hidden panel. The floor section slid back, revealing a cache that would have made a small army blush. Rifles, pistols, grenades, things that didn't have names in any human language but definitely killed people. Vivian raised an eyebrow. Just a mechanic? Former sergeant. Jack pulled out a heavy rifle and checked its charge. Old habits. The next night, Kronos Guild headquarters. The building squatted on the city's edge like a metal tumor, a decommissioned factory rebuilt into something meaner, guards at every corner, cameras tracking lazy arcs across the perimeter, motion sensors buried in the dirt. Vivian moved through it all like smoke through fingers. Her dark cloak merged with shadows. Years of training made each footstep silent. The first guard dropped before his hand reached his weapon. The second followed a heartbeat later. Jack's voice crackled in her ear. "Camera at 2 o'clock. Wait, now." She slipped through the blind spot, pressing against cold metal walls. They worked together like they'd done this 100 times. He saw what she missed: technical details, system weaknesses, the rhythm of automated sweeps. She handled what he couldn't, obstacles that needed to stop breathing. 20 minutes later, she stood in the server room. Rows of humming machines, blinking lights, the electronic heartbeat of a criminal empire. "I'm in position." "Perfect. See the main terminal? I need you to plug in what I gave you." The device he'd handed her before the operation looked like an ordinary memory chip. She slotted it into the port. Done. What now? Now the magic happens. Across town, in his workshop, Jack's fingers flew across a salvage keyboard. Codes, files, records. He altered dates, added names, created correspondence that had never existed. When he finished, it would look like the Kronos Guild had been planning to murder Kale, Vivian's former teacher and one of the most influential shadows alive. How much longer? Vivian's whisper carried tension. Footsteps in the corridor outside. 30 seconds. I don't have 30 seconds. The door opened. A guard, massive, armed. His eyes found Vivian, and that was the last thing they ever found. Done, Jack said. Get out. Vivian ran. Early morning light filtered through the workshop's grimy windows when they returned. Jack's shoulders ached. Vivian moved stiffly. She'd taken a glancing hit during extraction, though she hadn't mentioned it until he noticed the blood. First phase complete. Now they just needed to... They stepped inside and froze. A small figure sat in the chair at the center of the room. Silver hair, violet skin, huge golden eyes that lit up like sunrise. Maya. Viv. The girl launched herself at her sister. Vivian caught her, pulled her close. Her face cycled through emotions too fast to track. Joy, terror, confusion, more terror. Maya? How did you were supposed to, Ren was supposed to... Ren hides keys badly. Maya's voice was matter of fact. I took a ship. You took a ship? A small one, and I didn't break it. Pause. Mostly. Jack couldn't help it. He laughed. Vivian turned on him, eyes blazing. This isn't funny. It's a little funny. She could have died. But she didn't. Maya peeked around her sister's arm and looked at Jack. Then, a shy smile. The first real one he'd seen from her in months. Hi, Jack. Hey, small fry, how'd you find me? Easy. Asked where the weird human who fixes everything lives. Jack snorted. Nice to know I have a reputation. Vivian pulled back, gripping her sister's shoulders. Maya, listen to me. It's dangerous here, very dangerous. You shouldn't have come. The girl's expression shifted, stubborn now, defiant. You leave and don't come back, always. I don't want to be alone again. Something cracked in Vivian's face, pain she usually kept buried. I'm trying to protect you. Then protect me here. Maya stamped her foot. I'm tired of hiding, tired of being scared. I want to be with you. Silence filled the workshop. Jack cleared his throat carefully. You know, I've got a spare room. Technically, a storage closet, but it has a window. Vivian stared at him. I'm suggesting we don't decide this now. Jack shrugged. We've got a plan to finish. Let's survive first, figure out the rest later. Maya tugged her sister's sleeve. Viv, I'm hungry. Vivian closed her eyes, rubbed the bridge of her nose. You're impossible. It runs in the family, Maya said. Jack laughed again. The next few days blurred into something Jack hadn't expected. Preparation for war mixed with something that felt almost like family. Maya was a hurricane in small form. She touched everything, asked a million questions, tried to help with repairs and broke more than she fixed. But there was something about her energy, this unstoppable curiosity that refused to be dimmed by everything she'd survived. Jack, what's this? Plasma cutter. Don't touch. Why does it glow? Because it's hot. Don't touch. Can I try it? You're 8 years old. So, fine, but only with supervision. Vivian watched them from across the room. Jack couldn't read her expression. Something complicated lived there, something she didn't have words for. That night, after Maya fell asleep on the old couch clutching a stuffed bear Jack had found in the scrapyard and cleaned up, Vivian spoke. She trusts you. Is that bad? She doesn't trust anyone except me. Pause. And now you. She's a good kid. Vivian struggled for words. 3 years I've tried to protect her. 3 years of running, hiding, killing so she could live. And the whole time I wondered, what if I'm doing this wrong? What if I'm just breaking her more? Jack looked at the sleeping child. She's alive. She smiles. She trusts. After everything she's been through, she still believes in people. He turned to Vivian. That's not broken. That's a miracle. Vivian's eyes met his. Something shifted in their depths. You believe we can win? Honestly? Jack shook his head. Don't know, but I know I'll try. And I know you will too. How are you so certain? Because you've been fighting for 3 years. Never gave up. Never quit. Came to me instead of pulling that trigger. Pause. You're not what you pretend to be, Vivian. I've killed over 100 people. And saved one. The one that matters most. Her breath caught. You say that like it means something. It does. To me. Their gazes locked. Held. The plan required a middleman. Someone the guild trusted enough to believe. I know an information broker, Vivian said. Chris. Works for everyone simultaneously. Sells secrets to whoever pays most. Can we trust him? We can trust his greed. They met Chris in a bar on the far side of town. Dim lights, sticky floors. The kind of place where questions got you killed and anonymity came standard. Chris was exactly what Jack expected. Shifty eyes, fake smile. The constant calculating look of someone measuring how much you were worth dead versus alive. Jack accidentally mentioned hearing interesting things about the Shadow Council and their plans. Chris pretended not to care, but his ears practically twitched. By the end of the meeting, he was already planning how much the guild would pay for this information. Everything was going according to plan. That night, Jack woke to a sound that shouldn't exist. Soft creak. Someone moving through the workshop. He grabbed his pistol and slipped from his room. In the darkness, a silhouette. Tall, lean, moving with predatory grace. Don't move. The lights came on. Kale. Vivian's former teacher. One of the shadows. You're faster than I expected. His voice was calm, almost amused. For a human. How did you find us? I've been following Vivian since she received her assignment. Wanted to see what she would choose. Movement behind Jack. Vivian emerged from shadows, blades in her hands. Kale, are you here to kill us? If I wanted that, you'd already be dead. Pause. Then why? Kale lowered himself into a chair, unhurried, like he had all the time in the world. I know what you're planning. False data. War between the guild and the council. Elegant. Jack felt his plan crumbling. And you're here to stop us? No. Cale's gaze found Vivian. I'm here to help. Not everyone in the Shadow Council agreed with the old laws. Cale was one of the dissenters. The cleansing law is a relic, he said. Many of us think so. But the council is controlled by elders who cling to tradition like drowning men cling to wreckage. So you just decided to overthrow them? Jack didn't bother hiding his skepticism. Not so simple. We need cause. We need our people to see that the elders aren't as wise as they pretend. Vivian's eyes narrowed. You want to use our plan. I want to improve it. Your scheme is good, but there are weak points. Let me fix them. Long silence. Jack and Vivian exchanged glances. A wordless conversation passed between them. Trust, doubt, calculation. Fine, Jack said finally. But if this is a trap, if it's a trap, Cale finished, you couldn't stop me anyway. But it isn't. That night, Jack found Maya in the storage closet that had become her room. She sat in the corner, knees pulled to her chest, crying quietly. The sound of it, small, muffled, like she was trying to be invisible, twisted something in his chest. Hey, small fry. He lowered himself to the floor beside her. What's wrong? Maya wiped her eyes. Nothing. Doesn't look like nothing. Pause. Then quietly. Bad dreams. What kind? They take Viv away, like they wanted to take me, and I'm alone, all alone. Her voice trembled. 8 years old. So much fear for such a small person. Jack didn't know what to say. He'd never been good at comfort. You know, he started slowly, when I was a soldier, I had bad dreams too. After I saw scary things. Maya looked at him. What did you do? First, I tried not to sleep. Didn't help. Then I tried to forget. That didn't help either. What helped? Jack thought about it. An old soldier once told me, fear isn't the enemy. Fear tells you what matters. Listen to it, but don't let it give orders. I don't understand. You're scared of losing your sister, right? That means she's important, really important. Fear is telling you that. But fear doesn't know the future. It only knows how to scare you. You get to choose what to do. Maya considered this. What can I do? Stay close to people you love. Tell them they matter, and believe that they'll fight for you the same way you fight for them. The girl was quiet. Then she leaned against his shoulder. Jack? Yeah? You're important too, to me. Something tightened in his chest. Thanks, small fry. You too. Later that night, Maya finally asleep. Jack sat on the workshop roof, watching Vrak 7's perpetually orange sky. Smog and distant factory fires painted everything in shades of rust and amber. Vivian appeared without sound and sat beside him. I heard what you told her. Eavesdropping? Habit. Silence. Not hostile. Comfortable. You're good with her, Vivian said finally. Better than most of my own people would be. She's a good kid. Vivian stopped, searching. 3 years I've tried to protect her. 3 years of running and hiding and killing. And the whole time I wondered, am I doing this wrong? Am I just damaging her worse? Jack turned to face her. She's alive. She smiles. She trusts. After everything she's survived, she still believes in people. That's not damage, Vivian. That's a miracle. Vivian looked at him, something in her eyes he hadn't seen before. Do you believe we'll win? Honestly? Jack shook his head. I don't know, but I know I'll try, and I know you will too. How can you be so sure? Because you fought for 3 years, never surrendered, never retreated, came to me instead of following orders. Pause. You're not what you pretend to be, Vivian. I've killed over 100 beings, and saved one, the one that matters most. Her breathing changed, faster. You talk like that means something. It does, to me. Their eyes met, held. Vivian leaned forward, slowly, giving him the chance to pull back. He didn't. The kiss was careful, almost a question. Her lips cooler than a human's, but soft, real. When they separated, she whispered, "This complicates everything. I know. We might die tomorrow. I know that too. And you still..." She looked at him, and for the first time he saw her without the mask, without the armor, just a woman who'd carried an impossible weight for 3 years. "You're strange, Jack Reagan." Third time. He almost smiled. Should I start being offended? No. The ghost of a smile touched her lips. It's a compliment. 2 days later, the plan was ready. The Kronos Guild had received proof of the Council's betrayal from their trusted informant, Chris. They were furious. The Shadow Council had discovered the Guild's assassination plot against Kale. They were preparing to strike. All that remained was pointing them at each other. For that, they needed a meeting, neutral ground. Both sides had to come and see the evidence face to face. Kale arranged it as mediator, officially to resolve the conflict, actually to ignite it. The meeting place, an abandoned factory at the city's edge, the same building the Guild had used as a base before relocating. Jack, Vivian, and Kale would be inside, watching, guiding. Maya. "I want to help," she announced at breakfast on Operation Day. "No," Vivian said flatly. "But, Maya," Vivian's voice was iron, "this isn't a game. There will be people there who want to kill us. You're staying here." "Alone?" "Ren arrived last night. He'll be with you." Maya's face scrunched. "I hate Ren. He's boring. He's reliable, and he'll protect you if..." She didn't finish. Jack knelt in front of the girl. "Hey, small fry, remember what I said about fear?" Reluctant nod. "This is one of those moments when you need to be brave, but brave doesn't just mean fighting. Sometimes brave means waiting, trusting, believing that the people you love will come back. What if you don't come back? Then Ren takes you somewhere far away, and you live, grow up, remember us." Tears welled in Maya's golden eyes. "I don't want to remember you. I want you to be alive." Jack hugged her. "I'll do everything I can to come back. I promise." When he stood, Vivian was looking at him with an expression he couldn't read. The factory. Night. Guild delegation entered from one side. 6 soldiers in heavy armor plus their leader, a woman named Serena. Cold eyes. Calculating smile. The kind of person who measured everything in terms of usefulness or threat. Council representatives entered from the other side. 3 shadows, including one of the elders. Kale stood in the center, mediator. Jack and Vivian watched from the upper beams, hidden in darkness. At first, everything went according to plan. Accusations flew, voices rose. Both sides waved their proof of betrayal. Then Serena tilted her head. "Interesting." She studied the documents. "These files, they were modified 4 days ago, from a terminal inside our base." Jack's heart skipped. "Someone broke in," Serena continued, "changed the records, framed us." The council elder frowned. "Our data shows the same. Someone wants us to fight." Serena's eyes narrowed to slits. "The question is, who?" Kale kept his composure. "Perhaps a common enemy, someone who benefits from conflict between us. Or," Serena stepped forward, "someone here, someone who arranged this meeting." Silence stretched like a wire about to snap. Then everything exploded. Serena drew her weapon. The shadows drew blades. Guild soldiers opened fire. Chaos erupted. Kale dodged the first shot but took the second in his shoulder. He went down. "Move!" Vivian grabbed Jack's arm. They ran across the beams toward the exit, but the path was blocked. Below, war. Above, nowhere to go. "There!" Jack pointed to a ventilation shaft. They dove in, crawled through darkness while combat sounds faded behind them. They emerged on the roof, gasping. "Kale?" Jack asked. "Don't know." Vivian's face was pale. "We have to go back for him. If we go back, we die. He was helping us. And right now he's either dead or escaped on his own. Vivian, we need to think about Maya." That stopped her, the reminder of what mattered most. "You're right." She swallowed hard. "Home." They reached the workshop at a dead sprint. The door hung off its hinges. Inside, destruction, furniture overturned, tools scattered across the floor like shrapnel. Ren lay unconscious against the far wall, blood on his temple, breathing, but barely. Maya was gone. Vivian made a sound Jack knew he'd never forget, something between a scream and a growl, pure despair. "No, no, no, no." Jack found the note on his workbench. Plain paper, neat handwriting. "If you want to see the girl alive, assassin, come to the old docks, alone, no weapons. You have 1 hour, no signature." But they both knew who it was. Serena, the Kronos Guild. They'd figured out who set them up, and now they wanted revenge. 1 hour. That's all they had. Jack stood in the wreckage of his workshop, glass crunching under his boots. Vivian hadn't moved from the spot where she'd found Ren unconscious. Her hands hung at her sides. Her face was carved from stone. "I'll go." Her voice came out flat, dead. "It's a trap, but there's no choice. If you go alone, they'll kill you both." "I know." "Then we need a plan." "What plan, Jack?" She spun toward him and he saw what he'd never seen before, tears streaming down her face. "They have my sister, my little sister, the one I gave up everything for." Her voice cracked. Jack stepped forward, took her face in his hands. Her skin was cool against his palms, damp with tears. "Listen to me. We're getting her back. I promise." "You can't promise." "I can. Because I'm not letting you walk in there alone." The note said, "I don't care what the note said." His voice hardened. "They're expecting a grieving woman who'll do anything to save her sister. They'll get that. But they're not expecting me." Vivian stared at him. "You'll die." "Maybe, but you won't. And Maya won't." "Why?" The word tore out of her. "Why are you doing this? We're strangers. We're nothing to you." Jack smiled, sad but real. "Remember what I said back in that alley, when this all started? You said, you don't like seeing people hurt kids." "Yeah, but you know what else?" His thumb brushed her cheek, wiping away a tear. "You stopped being strangers the moment Maya waved goodbye to me." Vivian's eyes closed. "Jack, we've got 40 minutes. Let's make a plan." The plan was simple. Simple plans were best when everything was falling apart. Vivian would go to the meeting, unarmed, as demanded. Jack would reach the docks first, find a sniper position. His old military rifle wasn't the best equipment, but he knew how to use it. Before Vivian arrived, he'd plant explosive charges in the east wing and wire them to a remote detonator. When she was inside, he'd create a distraction with a single press of his thumb. While security scrambled to respond, Vivian would grab Maya. If everything went wrong, and it probably would, Jack had a backup plan. He didn't tell Vivian what it was. "See you on the other side," he said as they separated at the edge of the industrial district. "Jack," she grabbed his arm, "when this is over, we need to talk." "About what?" "About what comes next. About us. About—" She stopped. "Just come back alive, okay?" "I'll try." The kiss was brief but real, her lips cool against his, a promise neither of them was sure they could keep. Then they went their separate ways. The old docks were a graveyard. Decommissioned ships rose from the industrial mud like the skeletons of dead giants, rusted hulls, collapsed scaffolding, the smell of salt and decay and something chemical that burned Jack's nostrils, Perfect place for an ambush. He'd arrived 20 minutes early, plenty of time to find his position, the roof of a cargo vessel that gave him a clear sight line into the main hold of the ship where Serena was waiting. His rifle felt familiar in his hands, old friend from old wars. Through the scope, he watched Vivian approach the main gate, hands raised, no weapons visible. 6 guild soldiers met her, escorted her inside. Jack tracked them through windows and gaps in the hull until they reached the central hold. Serena stood in the middle of the space. Beside her, Maya, hands bound, mouth taped, but alive, whole. Jack's finger found the trigger. "You came." Serena's voice carried through the broken walls. "Good. Let her go." Vivian's voice was steady. "She's a child. She has nothing to do with your business." "She's leverage for your good behavior." Serena smiled, cold, reptilian. "You and your human friend set me up. My people died because of you. Now you'll pay. Do what you want with me. Just release her." "Oh, I will." Serena drew a knife. "But first, you'll tell me everything. Who else is involved? Where your shadow ally is hiding? How you knew about our routes?" Vivian said nothing. Serena walked to Maya, pressed the blade against the girl's cheek. "Maybe this will help you remember." Jack didn't hesitate. His thumb found the detonator. The explosion ripped through the east wing like a fist through paper. Fire, smoke, screams. Guards scattered toward the blast, exactly as planned. Serena's head snapped toward the explosion, and in that heartbeat of distraction, Vivian moved. Jack had seen her fight before. He'd never seen her fight like this. She crossed the distance to the nearest guard in a blur, strike to the throat. His weapon was in her hands before he hit the ground. 2 shots, 2 more guards down. Serena spun, knife raised, but Vivian was already there. The blade flew from the guild leader's hand. "Maya, run!" The girl didn't need to be told twice. She bolted for the exit, small legs pumping. Jack shifted his scope. A guard broke away from the chaos, chasing the child. Jack's finger squeezed. The guard dropped. Maya burst through a side door into the night. "Now, get Vivian out." In the hold, Vivian and Serena circled each other. 2 professional killers, 2 women who'd built their lives on violence. But Serena was fresh. Vivian had been running on adrenaline and fear for days. Serena struck first, fast, brutal. Vivian blocked, countered, but the return blow caught her in the ribs. She staggered. "Did you really think you could beat me?" Serena's voice dripped contempt. "I run half the black market in this sector. I've crushed hundreds like you." Vivian spat blood. "Maybe, but you forgot one thing." "What's that?" "I'm not alone." The shot caught Serena in the shoulder. She spun, eyes wide, and found Jack standing in the doorway. Rifle raised, smoke curling from the barrel. "Hey," he said. "Didn't get an invitation to this party. Rude." Serena snarled and lunged at him. Vivian swept her legs. The guild leader hit the ground hard. Didn't get up. They emerged from the ship into chaos. Distant fires, shouting. The sound of a secondary explosion from somewhere deeper in the complex. Maya ran toward them across the rusted dock. "Viv! Jack!" Vivian dropped to her knees and caught her sister. Pulled her close. Tears streamed down her face. The second time Jack had ever seen her cry. "It's okay. It's okay. You're safe." Maya sobbed against her shoulder, small hands clutching at fabric like she'd never let go. Jack stood guard, rifle ready, eyes scanning the shadows, which is why he saw them first. 3 figures emerging from the smoke, dark robes, familiar posture. Touching. The voice made his blood freeze. The council elder from the factory meeting, the one who'd nearly killed them all, flanked by 2 shadows. "Thank you for eliminating the guild," the elder said. "Simplifies matters considerably. Now, back to unfinished business." His eyes found Maya. The tainted must be cleansed. Law is law. Vivian rose, put herself between the elder and her sister. No. You've betrayed your people, Vivian Seltora. Your life is also forfeit. Jack raised his rifle. Try it. The elder laughed. An ugly sound. A human, with primitive weapons, against 3 shadows. I've killed plenty of unbeatable enemies in my time. Then die with honor. The shadows moved. Everything happened in seconds. Jack fired, hit one shadow, but the second was already closing, blade cutting through air toward his throat. Vivian threw herself into the path, blocked the strike with her body. Blood sprayed. No! Jack's scream tore from his chest, and then Maya screamed. Not an ordinary scream. Something else. Something more. A wave, invisible but physical. It rolled out from the girl like a shockwave, washing over everything in its path. The shadows froze, literally stopped mid-motion, like puppets with cut strings. The elder grabbed his head, his face twisted in agony. What is this? Maya stood at the center of it all. Her golden eyes blazed, brighter than Jack had ever seen them, brighter than seemed possible. You won't take my sister. Her voice was strange, layered, not a child's voice at all. The wave intensified. The shadows collapsed to their knees. The elder howled in pain. Impossible, he gasped. You're a silent. They died out centuries ago. Maya took a step forward. Leave, or I'll make sure you never hear the song again. Terror flooded the elder's eyes. Real, primal terror. He scrambled backward, grabbed his fallen shadows, ran. The golden light faded from Maya's eyes. She crumpled. Jack caught her before she hit the ground. Maya! The girl blinked. Normal golden eyes. Normal pale violet face. Just a child again. My head hurts, she said weakly. Vivian, the wound shallow, more blood than damage, dropped beside them. Maya, what was that? Don't know. The girl rubbed her eyes. I just really didn't want them to take you. And then it got loud. In my head. Jack and Vivian exchanged looks. A silent, Vivian whispered. I heard stories growing up. I thought they were myths. What does it mean? Silence. They can't hear the blood song, but they can block it. For everyone. She shook her head. In ancient times, they were revered as protectors. Then people started fearing them, hunted them to extinction. But she survived. No one knew what she was. Vivian stroked her sister's hair. She never showed anything like this before. Maya yawned. I want to sleep. Jack laughed, half hysterical, pure relief. Yeah, small fry. I think you've earned that. 3 days later. Rumors of what happened at the dock spread across the planet, then further. A silent, the first in centuries. The Shadow Council was in chaos. The elder who tried to kill Maya found his allies abandoning him one by one. Kale, he'd survived the factory massacre, contacted them through a secure channel. Your little demonstration changed everything. His voice crackled through the speaker. Half the council is terrified to touch you now. The other half... He paused, almost amused. The other half thinks it's time for change. What does that mean? Jack asked. It means the ancient law of cleansing will likely be abolished. There's already momentum building. Maya has become a symbol. Vivian shook her head. She's a child, not a symbol. One doesn't exclude the other. Kale's tone grew serious. You'll still need to be careful. Not everyone will accept the changes. But the hunt is over, officially at least. The connection cut. Jack turned to Vivian. That's good news, right? It's a beginning. She looked out the window, where Maya was playing with a repair droid in the yard. For the first time in 3 years, I can breathe. Evening. Maya slept in the storage closet Jack had converted into a bedroom. A real bed now. shelf for books, a lamp that projected stars onto the ceiling. Jack and Vivian sat on the roof, watching Vrac 7's perpetually orange sky fade to rust and amber. "What now?" he asked. "I don't know." Vivian was quiet for a long moment. "I don't know how to plan for the future. 3 years, I lived day to day, surviving. Maybe it's time to stop surviving and start living." She turned to face him. "Easy to say." "I'm not saying it's easy." Jack took her hand. "I'm saying it's worth trying." Pause. "We could stay here," he said. "On Vrac 7. The shop is small, but there's room. Maya could go to school. You could, I don't know, rest. Figure out what you actually want from life." Vivian stared at him. "You're suggesting we live with you? I'm offering you a home if you want it." "Why?" "Because you're my family." The words came easily, naturally. "I don't know when it happened. Maybe when I carried Maya through those tunnels. Maybe when you kissed me on this roof. Maybe from the very beginning. But it's true." Vivian's eyes glistened. "I don't know how to be normal. A family. Jack, I'm a killer." "Were. Now you're whatever you want to be." She was silent, then softly, "I want to try." The kiss was long, real, a promise. When they finally separated, Jack smiled. "Welcome home." 6 months later, the workshop looked different. More light, more life. Children's drawings on the walls, Maya's artwork, getting better every week. Tools on the workbench, arranged neatly by small hands. Maya was learning to fix things. She had talent, an intuitive feel for machines that reminded Jack of himself at that age. "Jack, look!" She held up a small cleaning droid that buzzed and struggled in her grip. "I fixed it." "Nice work, small fry. Now teach it not to run into walls." "That's harder." Vivian stood in the doorway, watching them. She'd changed, softer, calmer. The shadows in her eyes hadn't disappeared, but they'd lightened. She worked as a security consultant for local merchants now. Legal work. Strange, but good. In the evenings, they sat together. Jack, Vivian, Maya, eating dinner, talking about their days, arguing about whose turn it was to wash dishes. Ordinary life. For some people, boring. For them, a miracle. Night. Maya slept in her room, clutching the stuffed bear Jack had found in the scrapyard and cleaned up. Her most treasured possession now. Jack and Vivian lay in bed, her head on his shoulder, her skin cool and smooth against his warmth. "Jack?" "Thank you." "For what?" "Everything." She lifted her head, looked at him. "For being strange, for not knowing how to walk past trouble, for giving us a home." Jack smiled. "It was mutually beneficial. I got a family out of it, and..." He paused for effect. "A very attractive alien girlfriend." Vivian snorted. "Girlfriend?" "Well," he pretended to think, "we could discuss other options, if you want." She kissed him instead of answering. Outside, Vrac 7's sky hung dark and full of unfamiliar stars. Inside, a small home where 3 beings from different worlds had found each other. Sometimes the best families are the ones we choose ourselves. The end. Some people say humans are the weakest species in the galaxy. Maybe that's true, but we're the only ones stupid enough to save strange kids in dark alleys. And you know what? Sometimes that's exactly what changes everything. Jack Reagan.